This episode of The Tales Behind the Talent is sponsored by Avine Language Services. If you need proofreading of English texts, translations between Swedish, English and Finnish, or private teaching in Swedish and English, please do not hesitate to contact avineservices@gmail.com. Hello there, dear listener, wherever you might be. Welcome to another episode of The Tales Behind the Talent, and this time, as my guest, I have Ukri. So, Ukri, can you please introduce yourself a little bit?
Yeah, thanks for having me. So my name is Ukri. I am many things and I'm a human, but I guess we are doing this interview from the perspective of me being an artist and musician. So I'm a professional musician, a drummer particularly. I play drums for a Norwegian metal band called Abbath. And I'm also a drum teacher, a music technology graduate, and I do many kind of artistic things, other stuff like solo project and whatnot.
Yeah. So basically you're a professional drummer, but you're also a multi-instrumentalist in a way, because you do all the instruments in your solo albums and everything like that. And you even play the sitar, and and that's been like I think that you bought that in the late summer or something like that. So it has been interesting to see like someone playing so many instruments.
Yeah, definitely. So yeah, it was last summer that I purchased the sitar from Germany. Originally, I was looking to buy the sitar from India, but I wanted to avoid a few risks in the delivery because I'm not an expert of the instrument. So yeah, I got the sitar from Thomann, Germany, and that's like the latest new point of focus I've been at musically.
So let's get down to your early years, or the beginning of your kind of career. So how did you get introduced to music? What age and what kind of music was it?
I think my first real point of interest in music was the band Abbath. So, you know, first it was Abba and then Abbath. Okay. And yeah, I think rock music came later on. I was really a fan of AC/DC, and later I found Metallica and stuff like that. But you know, both my parents, they are really multi-talented artists, and you know, it's kind of a family thing that there are a lot of different kind of artists, and you know, my family is into different kinds of culture and whatnot. So music was very closely related in my family when I was growing up as a kid.
So you've been basically you have been introduced, or how would I say it? You have been involved with music at some point, or in some way all your life, if your parents are also musical and have been playing music. So you have been exposed, that's the word, you have been exposed to music from a really early age.
Yeah, that's true. And I've also been studying music a lot throughout my life. I think it first started when I went to this kind of musical kindergarten. And I went to this kantele course, you know, just a children kantele with like 5 strings. So nothing like really complex that you play on the instrument, but that was, I guess, my first touch into being somewhat schooled with music. And also my father is a music teacher, and basically I went to his band class. I followed my my brother and my cousin, a couple of years older than me. I went to the band class at the age of, I think I started at the age of 7 or something like that. And originally I was really interested in electric guitar when I found the passion for rock music. Well, there was actually no option to start playing the electric guitar in the band class, but I was still playing the guitar on my own. So I had a electric guitar at home, and I was learning some AC/DC classics by ear. And so in a way, I think my passion for riff music became very early. So that's something that I really found closely related to my feelings of music. Yeah, and later, I started playing drums at the band class, but by accident, actually.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what do you mean by accident?
Basically, the situation was that there were like 3 guitar players already.
Okay.
And the drummer left, and basically I was just given the drumsticks to my hand that you have to start playing drums. We don't have a drummer.
Okay. What age was that, like that band class then, when you started first playing the electric guitar and later the drums?
I don't remember exactly, because there was the drummer who was a bit older than us, and we had 3 guitar players, including my brother and my cousin and the 3rd guitar player. And I think we were like changing the instruments every now and then. So at times I would also play bass. I don't remember exactly what age did I start playing drums, but yeah, it was quite early, 7 or 8
years. Okay.
Yeah, I think when I joined the class, I was just kind of doodling around with the whatever instruments available. And
okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's quite early to have so many instruments to play, and I think it's great that you have had that opportunity to have that kind of a band class to get involved in, because I don't think that that's available like everywhere. But that sounds really like beneficial for young people who want to start playing and like searching for the instrument that they want to play.
Yeah, I think most kids who start playing music and are schooled in music are going a different path of choosing an instrument and then usually having like individual instrument classes. But that was not the case for me. But I actually went to a guitar class maybe once or twice, but I just quit it because I found the theory very kind of slow for me at that time.
Yeah, like dull or boring.
Yeah, and also I was like really kind of wild as a kid as well. So
yeah, like a hyperactive kid.
Yeah, if you will, maybe.
Was it around that band class time and you like decided that okay, this is something that I want to do more in the future, like or let's rephrase that. When did it become like more focused on drums then? Was it around that time or later?
I think I got my first drum kits at the age of 9, probably.
Mm.
You know, it was my cousin who introduced me into band Metallica, and we continued our passion for playing heavier music as a band. So we would actually play a lot with my cousin and my brother at home when I got the drum kits. And to me, it was all about the kind of energetic exchange of playing together. But of course, I would also play individually as well, and I would play a lot along records that I loved. And you know, I've also been writing my own music. I've been composing my own stuff, like since very early age as well. Yeah, so you know, I have released only 2 solo records, but it's that passion for making my own music, and mostly having the electric guitar as a tool for that. That's been there since beginning as well. Actually, even earlier than I started playing drums.
Yeah.
But I think drums became the main point of focus in a way.
Yeah. So in your case, it was kind of, was it just you deciding to start playing music, or because your parents are so musical themselves, were they kind of guiding you towards like having music as a hobby at least, or was it your own passion that drove you to that direction?
I'm pretty sure it was mostly my own passion. Like, I don't think my parents ever were like intentionally guiding me into that direction. Although I'm not quite sure. Maybe it could be there as well, but I think the main thing is that since very young age, I would feel powerful emotions, and I would, before I was even playing anything, I would feel the music very strongly. So
yeah.
in a way, I think it's just something that I kind of always had, or since very, very young age, I would feel very closely related to music. And but also, I think many people have that connection, but not all people are, you know, not all people start playing anything. You could be just a fan of music. Like myself, I'm really a fan of music, and I've always listened a lot to music. I still do. I'm listening to music all the time.
Well, have you, since you started so young, like have you had a break in that passion or enthusiasm, for example, during your teenage years, or has it been continuous since you started playing?
The passion to music.
Yeah. Have you had a kind of a break, like a gap year of that at some point in your life, or has it been continuous since you started playing?
Yeah, it's definitely been there always, but I think that there was a period quite early on. I was maybe around 11 years that I remember I took a break, at least from listening to music. I think I was a bit too too immersed in the passion at some point. So at some point I took a little bit of distance for that, because I've always been like very driven person, and if there is something that I have my focus at, probably most of the time I'm like really immersed in that focus.
Yeah.
So, you know, when I was a teenager, I would, you know, I would practice drums all day long. I was not really doing great at school, but you know, when I would get home, I would practice all day. I would practice drums all day, and then I would write my own music. And so I've had all my focus directed into my calling. I would call it that. It's a calling. Yeah.
Like you've been focusing more on the creative side there, and maybe that's the case for like musically talented people often, that if there's like it feels like school and later maybe work is something that just is compulsory, something that you do, but then music is the passion that you really want to put your time in, and that may affect the school or the work a little bit.
Yeah, definitely. I agree.
But we already talked about like because I always ask people when did you first start playing in a band, but we already talked about you being in a band class. But when did you first start playing in a band that was like performing or making music as a band, not like playing together only?
Well, I think the first band was actually we had a name with the trio that we had with my brother and my cousin. You know, you may know my cousin Janne Kaare. If you remember the band Skarm, he was the lead guitar player in that band. So really talented guitar player, and so in a way, you know, we called our trio a band, and we would perform at some family parties and whatnot. And I was really driven to always play live when possible, and I also wanted to take it a bit more seriously, at least later on than maybe my cousin and my brother. You know, they were also later, when they were teenagers, they were also doing other stuff. But I think I was, since very young age, I wanted to take music seriously. And yeah, we wrote some own songs. Our band was actually called 1134, or in English 1134.
Yeah. Like what kind of meaning was behind that? Do you remember?
Well, yeah, I do remember very well. Yeah, so I think my cousin Janne, he got the connection to heavier music from his mother, who was a fan of rock and heavy music. And yeah, I think it was around 2005 probably. Judas Priest was coming to Oulu to play in Raksila, if I remember correct. And actually, it was mine and Janne's task to get the ticket for Janne's mother from Stockman.
Of course. Yeah.
And you know, there was the machine where you get the ticket for for the customer service, and we got the ticket. I got it reversed, and you know, it was 134. I got it reversed, and somehow the numbers looked that there was HEL, like hell, hell without the second L. So we were like, holy shit, if you add one more one there, it's gonna be like hell. So that was the story, and I was the one who came up with that, and I suggested that it would become our band's name. And yeah, but before that, I already had my second band, which we titled originally Angel of Death, as you may have heard, because we have talked with Julle from I Am Your God.
Yeah.
So I actually played guitar and I was singing in the band. That was around when I was 10 years old. And you know, we grew up in the Markkuun yläaste, a very small school with approximately like 30 people each year in the classes from 1 to 6.
Yeah.
Very tiny school. And during my time in that school, there were with me, along me and my brother, there was this one person who actually played anything. And but I really wanted to form a band, and I kind of talked over one of my friends, Tuomas, to order a bass from Thoman, and
okay.
which he did, and he also went to learn it at school. But Julle, his father and his uncle were like, I think they were professional drummers, and Julle was, as he said in one of the interviews recently, that he always felt really connected to music. So yeah, he started playing drums. He got some drum kits from somewhere, and every now and then we would perform at school, and I wrote the songs, and we did some recordings as well. We even released something on mixeri.net. We had a page there, but unfortunately you cannot find those songs anymore from there. Okay. But yeah. So these were my, I guess, first bands. I think yeah.
Yeah, continue if you had something to say.
Yeah, the third band that I joined was actually Skarm, the band where my cousin was playing. Yeah, he joined the band in 2009. Also, the band was formed by Joel Hokka from Blind Channel. He was the lead. He was the composer and the rhythm guitar player in the band.
And was Aku part of that band at some point? Varanka.
Yeah, he played bass later on.
Yeah, because now I remember the band because our mutual friend Ville, who has done Ville Vitikka, who has done my logos and the intro tunes, showed me the band like less than a year ago when we were tasting beers. So because during that time of my life, I wasn't that into metal. So I was not aware of the scene. I actually got into like heavier music in my late junior high, and then into like death metal kind of music when I was in the university. So So it was something new, but it was cool, like finding so many like people that I knew were in the same group, but are doing their separate things nowadays.
Yeah.
But so that was your third band?
Yeah, I joined the band as a vocalist actually.
Okay. How did it go?
And yeah, it was fun. We did some. We recorded and released some demos, which you can probably still find those songs on the Mixery.net page of Scarm that I was performing vocals. But I actually quit the band after the first show was booked to Busis in Oulu.
So
I got
like the
I got really scared. Like I was panicking that I would go on the stage and embarrass myself or whatever.
Yeah, I think that like
I was 15 then.
My talk with Johan of Amaranth, he said that his first show that he played live in front of an audience, he was like almost literally crapping his pants and like feeling very anxious. But was that different for you? Because you said that you had been performing in like family events and everything like that. But how was that different? Was it because you were singing or?
Yeah, I felt uncomfortable with that idea, but later I did some featuring performances, which I enjoyed. But yeah, in hindsight, many times I've been thinking, who knows where that path would have led if I actually went to do the show, and if it turned out to be something like something great, or even just an experience that I had. But yeah, I stepped outside from the singer's role in the band, but I stayed really close with the band, and they became basically a family for me. And we were, as our teenage years, we were really, really close, and like hanging out at Oulu and the rehearsal space of the band like every week and every weekend, and partying and stuff like that.
Yeah. So when did you get back to drums then? Like because many people already know that, I think, were you 16 when you were endorsed by Pearl, or
17?
17.
Yeah.
But when did you start making the drumming videos? Was it like the year before, a couple of years before that, or?
Yeah, it was a couple of years ago, a couple of years before. So I actually formed my YouTube channel in 2006 already, and I think it was maybe 2007 or 8 that I deleted some of my videos. But yeah, I posted my first covers online on 2007.
Yeah.
And I started making more videos in 2008. That was the year that I got some recording equipment from Thomann, and as always, like some drum mics and a small mixer. So I would actually, at least I would get a separate audio recording from the video. So yeah, it was 2008 when I started to make some videos more frequently, but I also delayed it, or actually just hid some of those videos. So I think the earliest videos that you can find on my channel were from 2009. Yeah.
So,
I think 2009 was the year that I got like discovered in a way. Yeah.
So was that already, were those filmed in your rehearsal space? Because I remember when I met your dad, when we were like hanging out at Heavy Mesta, was it last year or something? He said that they built you a separate room or space to play in because you were so passionate about playing that they wanted to build you that, and also have like you play there and not in the like common space. So were those like filmed in that space?
Yeah, it was 2009 when we built this room actually. And also my father is rehearsing in this room, so the room was not only built for me, but yeah, it's true. I was playing inside the house before. So imagine a lot of noise inside the house. I would play upstairs in the bedroom, but also my playing style it's part of how my playing style developed, because in a way I was not able to play really loud, and I also had to buy cymbals that would not reach that high volume to get the best tone out of the cymbal that you should play. It's less loud. But yeah, we built this room before I went to Rippikoulu. I call it, no idea.
Confirmation school or like that.
Yeah, during summer 2009, and yeah, I started making more videos in this room. But all the videos I made before, I recorded in different room inside the house.
Okay. So what kind of equipment did you have like back then? Because they have like cameras are now a different size than then, and they like you can have a really nice quality like picture in a like a GoPro situation or a smaller camera. But how did you like record and tape those back then?
We had a camera with my brother that recorded the video on a kind of cassette. Is that a word?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, that it worked in a way that you needed to have this particular tool, and you would actually have to record the video to your computer. So unlike with like if you have a SD card or USB, you can just transfer the file, but you actually have to record. If you had a 1 hour drum recording that you wanted to have in its entirety, you actually had to record it on your computer to save it.
Yeah.
And yeah, the quality was not HD. I got an HD camera 2010. Yeah,
and I think that was around the time when like it was 720p. It wasn't like full HD 1080 back then. But yeah,
the first video that I released with the HD camera, it immediately went viral. That was Facebreaker by Divine Heresy, a drum cover. One of the, I think it was maybe the second most watched video on my YouTube channel, probably.
Yeah. So that was like a good
that was like a high quality video.
Yeah, good purchase
it's pretty decent quality.
Yeah. Are you drinking water from a like liquor bottle?
Yeah, everybody's saying that
Water.
always.
Water.
Yeah.
It's Vappu time, so you never know.
Yeah, exactly.
But
anyway, I was about to say that during that time, like 2010, when I was filming some videos with an HD camera and also having the drums recorded, the audio recorded with like multiple drum mics. In that time, I think it was something like that stood out, because there were not so many people in that time who were making like extreme metal covers with that high quality recording. But I think, last couple of years, or like during the last decade, it became something almost like taking for granted that you need to have the certain quality of videos, otherwise people will not watch it probably. So the quality standards really changed, I think.
Yeah, and I think that they have been changing every time there is like an upgrade. Like nowadays, you should, like, if you don't record at least full HD, you're not gonna get anything, or at least 2K or 4K or soon 8K. I don't even know what everything like that means, but like the better quality, the better like the response from the viewers. But I think that I was about to also ask you that was it around the time that you got like a little bit more viewers that you thought that the hard work that you have been putting into drumming and practicing was paying off? Or was it ultimately when you got endorsed, or how did it go in your own mind or in your own opinion?
I think at first I got the attraction from the drum covers I was making before I got endorsed by Pearl. I think getting endorsed by Pearl was the kind of consequence of the attraction that I got with the videos and the hard work put into it. There were different kind of strategies that I had along the way during the first years that I got some attention. So actually, for many years, I was using different online drumming forums to promote my videos. So, I would try to reach out people using those. So I would release a video on YouTube, and then I would use different drumming forums to promote the videos. 2010, some of my drumming videos reached out to one of my biggest drumming idols back then, George Goliath of Nile. And he saw the videos, and one day I was just scrolling down my Facebook wall, and I noticed Pearl Finland had posted the link to my YouTube channel, and there was a couple comments from George Goliath, basically just praising the videos and my drumming, and that was really spectacular for me, because I was making all these Nile drum covers and practicing all the techniques to play that music, and it was really amazing to get the attention from George himself.
And was that kind of a breaking point or something like that, or was it just something that got you more energy, or was it like something that made you sure that you have a career in drumming, or was it later then?
Oh man, it's well, I don't know if there are like very clear distinctions of what is professional and what is not. I mean, these things I consider important things on my professional career, but you know, it would get many years that I would actually get like paid almost like anything for playing drums.
Yeah.
So in a way, that was you know, there have been different parts on the path, but definitely that was a important one. My YouTube channel has been one of the most significant things on my profession or on my path towards being a professional. So getting endorsed by Pearl, that was something amazing that happened along the way, and making the connections, later on. I think my point of focus shifted a little bit from that primary focus on YouTube to the bands that I was playing with. So I would say it was 10 years ago that almost 10 years ago I got endorsed by Pearl, and it was almost, or actually even more than a year process of first getting in touch with Pearl Finland to getting endorsed by Pearl. And it was 2012 when I got the Pearl kits that I had purchased. But yeah, the point of focus shifted a little bit from that sole focus on the YouTube channel to playing more with bands. So 2011, or actually 2010, was the year when I joined the first real band as a drummer. So that was the band that later became entitled Vermivore. I also came up with that title for the band, but of course approved by the others in the band as well. So I joined that band. Actually, just 10 years ago, we were recording drums for my the drums for the first EP, Zero Vector by Vermivore. And also 2011, I joined Lirium's Order, which was also very important thing on my career. We got somewhat successful with the release of the band's third album, which was my first album ever made, Vermivore, that was released in 2012. So the release of the album was somewhat successful for that genre of music, at least. And like releasing the single track and music video, Autistic Savant, we got pretty good visibility for the video, and it has like over 100K views.
Yeah. Was it that after that publication that you played in Tuska? Was it 2012, or was it Numerok that year with Delirium's Order?
Yeah, 2012 we released the album, and we played some festival shows and a mini club tour in Finland. And also the same year I joined Before the Dawn as a session live drummer for the spring, and I also performed at Gustav Festival that was also really significant thing for me. And yeah, it was 2013 when I played with Lirium's Order in Tuska. Yeah, and there have also been some other bands. Like I think the first club show that I ever played was with a band called The Undivine.
So around that time, 2013, 12, you would have been 18, 19 years old.
Yeah.
So did it feel intense, like starting to play as many gigs, or did it feel natural to you?
Well, it felt like both. It definitely felt way more intense in that time than nowadays. So I would say that in a way, the whole evolution during those couple of years of getting the first attractions on YouTube and getting endorsed by Pearl and then joining all these bands, a lot happened like very fast and during young age. But I think overall it was something that I felt natural about, and I felt like I was doing something that was my calling in a way. But yeah.
So was it which year was it when you then released your, or which years you released your solo albums? Was it before that?
Yeah, the solo EPs that I put out, my first EP on 2010 and 2013.
Okay.
And that was the second EP, Syöverestä by Suvilehto, early 2013. Yeah.
I think that also got like recognition from bands. Was it like Insomnium or something like that?
That was something really amazing for me. You know, a pretty big band in the Finnish metal scene. So noticing that they had actually shared the link to the EP on their Facebook page, that was really amazing.
Yeah. So it was the latter one, the 2013 one album. Yeah. The EP. Yeah. So when did you start playing in Whispered?
Oh, that was 2017.
So much later.
Yeah.
Okay. But how did it go with all those projects between that period, like 2013 and 17, let's say?
Well, 2014, I moved to Helsinki and I started studying music technology. And during when I was living in Helsinki, I had two main projects that I played drums with. These were titled Ia and Tuliterä, was another band. With Tuliterä, I never recorded anything, but we played quite a bit of shows around Helsinki area. And Ia was something that we played quite a bit of shows, and we started recording the debut album in 2016. So I joined the band. I joined both bands in 2015, and in 2016 we started recording the album with Ia.
Yeah, and it came out last year.
Last year, that's correct.
Yeah. But I think that it was worth the wait as a listener, because I think that it's a really good, like you should check it out, if listeners, if you haven't. But it's like metal and folk music, and like it has a really, I would like to say, like a Finnish touch to it. Like you can almost taste the forest by listening to that album in a way.
Yeah.
And
but initiation by a band, you can find it on Spotify, for example, or Bandcamp as well if you want higher quality audio. But yeah, during those years, musically I was mostly, and I was also writing a lot of my own music, which still has not been released. But I would say that I had more, I was on a kind of hiatus from that YouTube thing a bit, and also these bands were not that much recognized than some of the other bands before. So 2017, I actually got a call to play on the Forest tour along with Winter Sun, to play this 5-week tour with Whispered as a drummer, because their own drummer back then was not able to play on that tour, and they were looking for a guy to fill in. So to me, that was something amazing, to make a somewhat powerful comeback, like more into the public appearance.
And
because during these years between, I was making quite a lot, but like, for example, this album project with Ia, it just, for many reasons, it just took many years to make. So
so was it like a different kind of music then? It's not that different, but because Whispered is so, it has a lot of backing track, I think, because of the Japanese folk elements in it, which I absolutely love. I'm at the moment I'm playing the game The Ghost of Tsushima, and I think that if they had wanted to, they could like easily include Whispered there, but it's only the like Japanese folk music. But how do you play it with that much backing track live before that, or was it the first time?
I played with backing tracks, both with Lirium's Order and also Before the Dawn in 2012. But that's a whole different world. So I think during 2012 and 2013, the main band that I was playing live with was Vermivore, and we never played with a click track, except on the EPs that we put out. But playing live with backing tracks, that's a different game, and it takes more practice than just playing few shows every now and then. Also with the whole band, it takes more practice. And but when I was studying in Helsinki, and I was playing with Tulitera and Ia. Both bands actually used a backing track. So during those years, I would play a lot with click track, like using the in-ears. So in a way, when I joined Whispered as a session guy, I was pretty familiar with that kind of environment, and I felt really comfortable playing with click track.
Well, that's good, because I think that it would be really difficult to jump into that straight away.
Yeah, if you never had experience playing with click track, that could be something kind of abrupt to shift from playing without a click track to playing with a click track. Yeah.
So before heading more towards your current situation with Abbath, so I would like to ask, because we were talking about the backing tracks, and as a drum teacher, do you think that that would be something that people could or should like practice independently while doing drums, if they are like seeking to play in a band that has a lot of backing tracks?
Yeah, of course. You don't need a backing track to practice with a click track, but most of the time is if there is a backing track, you have a click track with a programmed metronome on it, because otherwise you may lose the track on the backing track. So yeah, it's pretty easy. You don't need a lot to practice with a metronome. You can use an online metronome, for example, as I did yesterday when I was doing an online drum lesson. So basically I was just using an online metronome, and I played the click track from my laptop so that the student would hear it, and then he would follow the tempo. Yeah.
So the most important part of that is the metronome then. Yeah.
Yes.
But let's talk about Apathy. So how did you join that band? Was it originally as a session player, or do I remember correctly?
Yeah, so the first time that I ever heard from the band as they reached out to me was when we were touring in Europe with Whispered during fall of 2017, and they asked me to play some shows and possibly an album as well. And somehow it didn't happen back then, but it was 2018. The previous Abbath bassist, King of Hell, also familiar from the band Gorgoroth, he reached out to me again and asked if I could play the shows that the band had booked for 2018. So I approved to do it, of course, and we played all the shows that had been booked since April to September, I think, of 2018. These were all the shows that we played during that year. And yeah, journey continued on, and I think it was December of 2018, we hit the studio in Kristiansand of Norway to start recording the second Abbath album. That was the first album for me with the band Outstrider.
Yeah, that
was released in 2019. So yeah, we released the album in 2019, and at least then it was obvious for me, for the band, that it was obvious that I was then part of the official lineup. That I was not just I don't think I was ever labeled as a session guy, because I was just playing drums. But also the drummers before me, everybody was sort of using the same stage character in a way. All drummers in the band before me were just called the same creature.
Okay.
Everybody was using the same mask, which was made out of, I think it was somebody told me it was made out of wood, and it was pretty heavy mask. And I think the identities of the drummers, they were known, but on the public side, it was just Creature who was always playing.
Yeah.
Like in the Ghost, there is just
yeah. So you kind of became the character at first, or have
actually
you?
I never used the Creature mask.
Okay.
And it was also approved from the band that I could make it public.
Yeah. Okay.
But at first I didn't know if I could join the band as myself, or if I had to. I was expecting that I would use the mask, but then things just rolled the way, and it was. I was very happy to join the band, even as a session guy with my own sort of name and own face.
Yeah. And you did you come up with the paint yourself, or was it something that was suggested to you, or was it your own kind of creativity going on there that you use nowadays while playing and while getting laundry on the streets of New York and everything like that?
Yeah, well, the last couple of tours I came up with my own mask, I guess. But originally it was just something that we tried to make it fit into the aesthetics approved in the band. And I remember some of the first shows, even King of Hell, he would help me with the mask, and we would come up with some new ideas and stuff like that. But you know, there have been different things along the way that, for example, during the first year, at some point, Abbath came up with an idea that my hands would be painted black. And actually, I think this is probably some of my or like a similar shirt I've been wearing live. Nice material, and first year I was actually required to play in this kind of shirt.
Yeah.
And so the arm was painted black, and also my hair was colored with a black powder. And yeah, with the release of Outrider, I came up with some new ideas for my stage outfit, I guess. I've been doodling around with different kind of ideas. For example, like the last couple of tours, I had my hair all white. So I had white face, and also the black stuff there as well, but also white hair.
Yeah. So was 2019 your first full year of having shows? Had you had like before that, like a full touring year, or was it 2019?
Yeah, I think maybe I played the same amount of gigs during 2017 as I played during 2018, or somewhat close, because we played two shorter tours with Abbath in 2018, but also that year we played a lot of festival shows. 2017 I played some shows with Ia and Tulitera early during the year, and later we had the 5-week tour with Whispered.
Mm.
In 2019, we only played, I believe we played only 3 festival shows with Abbath.
Mm.
But we had a kind of massive tour in the States, North America, and also including Mexico, Central America, and South America. So during the end of the year, we played a lot of shows during the tours. And in 2020, we had the pretty lengthy European tour as well.
And because we are heading towards the unavoidable subject, which is the COVID situation, but you also, after the European tour, you've already flew to the States, and you were about to play next day or day after, or something like that. I remember that we talked about it, and then the pandemic escalated, and you had to fly home without having any shows.
Yes.
So, for many people that I talked with, they have been affected seriously by the pandemic. But I think that you and other bands that were like gonna start a tour that or had like already started a couple of shows, started a tour. I think it was the hardest blow, because you were already there, and then you had to come back without having anything to without having the opportunity to play there.
Yeah.
So it must have felt really bad. Or how do you remember it? It's a little more than a year ago now.
Yeah, those were very, very strange times. It took around took almost 1 week actually to make the trip from home to States and come back. So it was very disappointing, obviously. And I remember also Omnium Gatherum, or was it Insomnium?
They had a Insomnium Gatherum tour, and they played 2 gigs.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. They started the tour a little bit around the same time when we went to States, and they played 2 shows. And
but I think that they had shows in different states, and that's why they were able to have them. You were going to start in Detroit, I think.
Yes.
Yeah. So they were having their first shows in different states, and that's why they were able to play them. And then after those, they had to come back, or something like that. But it's like having traveling for a week just to get home, or to go to the States and to come back home. It sounds really like tiring and almost depressing at the same time. So how did you start coping with all of that after you came back to Tyrnävä, I think, and how did you go with that situation?
Yeah, well, it feels like the spring of last year was almost feels like it happened like many years ago. Like it can't be just 1 year. So everybody was in the same boat when the whole pandemic situation happened. The whole world was in the same boat all of a sudden. So I don't know, man. I don't even remember a lot of details of those times. But yeah, I remember there was this kind of foggy overall feeling, and kind of just following the situation. But it was obvious that we would not play live for a long time. But actually, I managed to play one live show last year in Helsinki with Ida. That was the album release show, which was amazing experience, and it's also really gave some sense of presence. It was a really strong sense of presence to play a show and do what you love in those circumstances. I don't want to sound too negative or anything, but in a way, when you are touring constantly, there comes this element that, in a way, it becomes so normal to play all the shows every day. But when all of that cuts and you cannot do that anymore, you cannot do that where you have dedicated your life for and do what you love. Yeah, it's hard, you know.
So you are also like, I think we discussed this when you were a guest on my radio show last year. We discussed the fact that you are also a very like travel enthusiastic person, even without the touring, and like you have been after your tours, you have left almost straight away, or you have stayed in Brazil, for example. We were a couple of weeks there after the South American tour, and then you have been.
Yeah, that was Argentina, but
Argentina, yeah, and then you have been to Asia after. So I think that has it hasn't only like affected your professional life, but also like you as a civil person. Like, what do you like to do? You like to spend your free time traveling and getting to know different kinds of places, and I think that must also have felt like difficult. But you have been spending a lot more time in this region right here, like the Oulu region, and more time with your family, surely, because you live there. And do you think that that's one of the positive things of all of this, to kind of have time to spend time with people here? Or how would you?
There has been more time, obviously, to be with my family, but in general, I have not been so much with. Obviously, have not been spending so much with friends, for example. So I have some friends in this region as well, but of course, the COVID has shifted the focus into different things. So, you know, obviously there has been pros and cons for me personally in this situation. For example, I feel way healthier than 1 year ago. For example, I've lost 15 kilos during last six months or something, and yeah, there have been some good things as well. And obviously, when you're touring all the time and you are changing occasions and shifting between traveling, touring in the States, for example, then coming back to Turnava, to countryside and then going to Asia to travel by yourself is obviously a lot of kind of stress, for example, physically. There are different kind of things that I now realize that I have to take better care of when the touring life hopefully starts at some point. So yeah.
And you also now had time to go through the tonsil surgery, which we have in common. You had a couple of weeks before me, and I'm still recovering from that. But I think that would be somewhat difficult to arrange if you would have like a busy schedule or calendar. And at least for me, because I had an infection for almost like 2 months in a row. Like every time one infection ended, I had another one, and I was on antibiotics for 34 days in 2 months. And you also had trouble with that. But at least after this, you probably don't have to like worry having an infection on tour, because that has been bothering you, as we discussed at some point. But
I really hope so.
Yeah,
I think that just time and experience will tell how it turns out. But as I have understood about your recent infection on tonsils and some other previous infections as well, I usually didn't have it. I usually didn't have it so bad. And but still, that really has been a remarkable issue for me during touring life, especially because you're on tour and you have to perform live each night and play this kind of extremely physical music with the conditions of constant traveling and not sleeping well and whatnot. And you have an infection at your throat, have fever, and you have to go to a private doctor in Canada, for example, and actually have to pay quite a bit to do that, and stuff like that. So having those experiences pretty much on every tour, I really hope it will not continue after the surgery. But also we had different kind of surgeries, obviously. So I hope that the surgery I went through is also effective enough on long term. But so far I have not had any issues, which is nice.
Yeah, and let's hope that it stays that way for both of us. But let's head towards the future a little bit. And at least what I have been following on social media is that you have been in Norway at some point, recording drums for the new Abbath album. So that is coming at some point in the future. But can you, or do you have the permission to talk about that a little bit, or do you have something else that you have been planning for your future that we could talk about?
Yeah, we can surely talk something about the new Abbath album. So in January I went to Bergen originally, and we had this kind of preparation for the studio. Also, I had to stay basically 10 days guaranteed before we flew to Kristiansand to Dub Studio to record the album. So late January we started recording the album. It took me around 4 days overall to track all the songs on drums. And and it has just recently been mixed, the album. So I'm very excited of the new songs. Personally, I feel that this album really shows our maturation together as musicians, because when we were tracking the Outsider album, it was a few months after playing the first kind of leg of the book shows that I originally approved to do. So in a way, I was still a very kind of new person in the band, and now it was over 2 years in between those albums. So in a way, I guess we were pretty effective, and I'm very happy that we were able to use some of this corona time to actually be creative and write the new album and record it. So I think all the experiences and touring we've been through during these over 2 years in between the new upcoming album and the previous album, Outsider, you can really hear it, that we sound more unified as a band, and our kind of musical synergy is really strong on this album. And I also, besides the production and how we play together and how we sound as a band, also I think we reached amazing level of songwriting this album as well. So I think it's gonna be something that will sound unique and something very powerful.
Yeah, I am really looking forward to that, because I have liked both of the albums so far, and that sounds really good, that you are like you are more whole as a group, more unified, and I think that that's always good when making music, that people are on the same wavelength of things. But are you kind of like looking forward to playing shows as soon as it's possible? Is that your like goal at the moment? Like
yes. I'm really looking forward to take the new songs and the new album on the road. I think that what we are bringing musically on this album is something that has been a little bit lost maybe on the metal music album productions, because it has been going so kind of technology oriented in a way that, you know, you may not even be as a band who plays together or practices together to you know, make amazing music at home and use all the technological advancements. But I think during the last few years that we've been touring together, and especially the last 2 tours that we did, those were the first longer tours that I have played with the band. We really kind of found something of us in the band in that touring environment, that we actually really, I think we reached a level of kind of musical greatness together especially on the last tour, that we sounded really that that we were on the path of becoming really strong musically together. And I think that this is something that you can actually feel on this album, that we were able to bring that same live energy and that unified musicality on the production of this album, which I'm really happy about.
Yeah, that's great to hear. But I think that we are heading towards the end of the interview here. So if you have something to say here before ending, like some greetings or announcements, so you are free to do them now. So just if you have something to say, you can say it now.
Yeah, so for fans of and listeners of my music and my projects, including Abbath and possibly some other publications in futures as well, just feel free to follow us on socials, and we'll keep you updated. And Mikael, it's been a pleasure to finally make this podcast with you, and everybody out there. Check out the channel and subscribe for more interesting podcast interviews.
Yeah.
So
thanks. And let's say, because I think it's worth saying here, because we have been scheduling this for like 1.5 months, and it's really great to finally have the opportunity to do this. And, and from now on, because at this point I have already announced I am going to do only distance interviews because of my situation with my work. So it's always good practice to have that, and I think it's really nice to have the opportunity to like have the video involved. So originally we were gonna do this here at my apartment, but I'm actually glad that it turned out this way, because we can now have the video out and have maybe more like expressional things here for the listeners and watchers. Maybe not the listeners, but yeah. But thank you so much for the interview, and thank you for listening and watching, and stay safe out there.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It's been a pleasure. And take care, everybody. Hopefully see you soon, whenever time comes that we can go back to our normal things and play live and go to concerts and whatnot. So
yeah, let's end with that.